Heya, I'm Cull, and this will be a full breakdown of Gore Magala Ken's kit from Street Fighter Duel. Some tips, as well as a handy cost analysis that I think you'll enjoy at the end of the video. Let's jump into it. Gore Magala Ken is one of the most unique characters in the entire game to date, so let's start by breaking down his skills. Ken's super is the only one that you can actually manually activate. All of his other skills will activate automatically when your other characters use their combos. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Ken is an infernal power unit that falls within the balanced class, and he gains plus 25 attack from the fighting style. Let's jump into his skills. Ken's passive is a double-edged sword. 25 seconds after the battle begins, both sides will receive Dragon Rage Curse, I'm going to call it Curse from now on, for 15 seconds. At base level, they'll take 30% of Ken's attack every second as true damage, meaning elemental advantage will not affect this damage. This effect can be removed from each team respectively if that player deals 1000% of Ken's attack before 15 seconds pass. At passive level 2, if the enemy doesn't remove the curse in time, they will receive a debuff where they will deal 25% less damage for 12 seconds. At passive level 3, if you clear your curse, your team will deal 25% more damage for 12 seconds. Finally, at passive level 4, a 400% difference is added to the team's requirements to clear curse, with your team only needing 800% of Ken's attack, and the enemy team needing to deal 1200%. This makes it easier to clear your curse, while making it harder for enemies to clear theirs. Ken's passive is used and referenced in many of his skills, so now we can jump into those. His super has Ken charge forward and slash the nearest target, dealing 580% of his attack in the form of a heavy hit, and giving himself 30% damage resist up for 10 seconds. His super level 2 actually affects his passive, technically. When the enemy receives curse, they have a 30% base chance to be stunned for 3 seconds. His super level 3 simply changes the damage to 638% and gives Ken an additional 5%, bringing his total up to 35% damage resist for the same amount of time. Ken's combo 2 and combo 3 can't actually trigger on their own. When an ally fighter triggers their combo 1, Ken will trigger his combo 2, and when they trigger their combo 2, Ken will automatically trigger his combo 3. What this means is that with Gore Magala Ken in your lineup, all of your combos will be 6-hit combos instead of 4-hit combos. Let's check out his combo 2. Ken's C2 can technically be considered an additional C1, as it activates as soon as you use a fighter's C1. Ken performs a spin slash that deals a heavy hit to multiple enemies, dealing soul damage equaling 240% of his attack. At level 2, if Ken is afflicted with Curse, he gains plus 25% lifesteal when performing the skill. And finally, at level 3, if the enemy is afflicted with Curse, this attack has a 60% base chance to afflict them with 1 stack of Weaken. Finally, rounding out Ken's skills, Ken's C3 can be thought of as a C2, as it will activate when you activate another fighter's combo 2. Ken performs 2 slashes that can hit multiple enemies, dealing 360% of attack as soul damage and knocking them back, but the attack also has a 20% additional chance to deal double damage. At level 2, the skill instead has a 20% chance to deal triple damage, and at level 3, this upgrades again to a 20% chance to deal quadruple damage. Next, let's discuss Ken's fighting spirit, Magala Cloak, which can be unlocked once he reaches SS. Maxed out, Ken will receive a 33% HP boost, a 28% attack boost, a 10% plus to pressure, and plus 6% healing rate. Furthermore, this gives Ken a 20% chance to gain Sharpness when performing a combo. Sharpness is a unique ability that can be stacked 3 times, and when Ken has Sharpness, his normal attack will consume 1 stack to perform Sharpen. This delivers a heavy hit to the nearest target and deals 240% of attack, while filling the combo gauge by 100. On top of this, Sharpness also performs another unique ability called a Gore Magala Blast, which pulls the tag fighter out onto the battlefield for 15 seconds. The Assist skill unlocked at Fighting Spirit level 5 allows the assisted fighter to inflict Curse when they use their super combo, but this can only be triggered once every 30 seconds, and Curse's DPS is reduced to 20% of Ken's attack per second instead of 30. To remove their respective Curse, each team must deal 1000% of Ken's attack, not the assisted fighter's attack. If the enemy fails to remove Curse, notably, your team isn't referenced here, they deal 25% less damage and receive a 25% decrease to damage reduction for 12 seconds. Going back to when Ken is in the lineup, at Fighting Spirit 10, Gore Magala Blast will now inflict Curse on the enemy when triggered. At Fighting Spirit level 20, Ken will begin the battle with 1 stack of Sharpness if he's in the starting lineup and not as a tag fighter. For the keen-eyed, you may have realized that this means that his normal attack will deal 240% of his attack, fill the combo gauge by 100, and pull the enemy TIE fighter onto the battlefield for 15 seconds, all while inflicting curse on the enemy. Finally, at Fighting Spirit level 30, Ken now has a 30% chance to gain a stack of Sharpness when unleashing a combo, and his C3 will consume Sharpness to unleash Sharpen as well as his normal attacks, performing all aforementioned effects. To round out all of Gore Magala Ken's abilities, if you obtain SSS Ken, you can unlock his second passive, Through the Garage. Cursed Nightmare is a skill that affects the potency of Curse. At 3 out of 6 of Ken's vehicles, if the enemy fails to remove Curse, they cannot receive shields or healing for 6 seconds. Conversely, if you manage to remove Curse, healing and shields that your team gains are increased by 35% for 12 seconds. Then, when Ken has all cars equipped, if you remove Curse, the enemy team automatically fails to remove Curse. Now that we've discussed all of Ken's abilities and skills at face value, let's jump into some team building and theory crafting. Gore Magala Ken seems like he could fit well into a weakened team. Curse wants you to deal damage quickly while wanting the enemy to not deal damage, so reducing the enemy's attack to ensure they don't clear Curse before you do is a given. An example team could be something like this Turbo Weakened team that consists of Bison, Gore Magala Ken, Mad Ryu, and Jury. A team like this might even be able to make use of A-tier Ken, at least in the mid-game, probably not later on. An example of a different team that SSS Ken could slot into is a Super Aggro team, one that focuses on dealing as much damage as possible, as quickly as possible, such as a team consisting of Chun-Li, Guile, Ken, and Bison, or an AoE team such as Dalsim, DJ or Bison, Mayor Cody or Normal Ken, and Gore Magala Ken. I don't have any vehicles for Ken yet, but his full passive automatically makes his entire kit much better since it opens up more build options for him, but really just makes the enemy's failing Curse much more reliable. All in all, Ken's entire kit builds on itself as you boost him higher and higher, so higher tier Kens are better inherently than lower tier Kens, just from a statistical standpoint. Speaking of statistics, let's jump into some of Ken's pros and cons. Pros. Gore Magala Ken is a fighter that adds 2 extra AoE attacks to every combo chain. This leads to a large upgrade in the amount of damage that your team can output. Furthermore, Ken's Curse lets you deal more while your opponents deal less. Finally, once Ken reaches all 6 of his unique vehicles, Curse becomes even more of a powerhouse ability, allowing you to boost your shields and your healing all at the same time while negating your opponent's ability to use shields and healing. One final thing to note, I realized that Gore Magala Ken at SSS is outperforming my Mad Ryu in terms of damage consistently. Here are some screenshots on screen from several stages to back it up, but I didn't record any normal stages with him at each tier. Next, the cons. Ken's auto attacks can mess up auto or mistimed attacks. Specifically, I ran into this issue with his C3. The second slash knocks enemies back really far, so moves like Mad Ryu's Mechu Shoryuken, if you time it wrong, whiffs either the first hit or the second hit of his attack, leading to missing out on at least a little bit of damage. Ken's auto combos put him in front of all other units. The damage reduction that he gets does help him to mitigate damage, but after chapter 22, he is always my first unit to die, since he is almost always at the front of the line, even in front of Bison sometimes. This can be avoided with good awareness and timing. Finally, Gore Magala is expensive. I was only able to SSS him after 360 pulls, including the free Ken we received. This means that his kit, being fully fleshed out, is locked behind a very expensive paywall. I hope this video offered at least a little insight as to what Gore Magala Ken can bring to the table. I have one last special thing to round out the video with. But first, if you're considering whether to pull for Gore Magala Ken or to wait for Akuma, consider checking out Scion Storm's video on Akuma in the link below. As always, remember to tell the people in your life that you care about that you love them. Now, here is a list of everything I could buy using the money I spent to get Gore Magala Ken up to SSS.